What's going on, guys? It's the Nerdy Athlete here, and today I'm going to be giving you my spoiler Joker movie in a nutshell. I'll throw my review in at the end, so stay tuned. Look, now I'll be honest, I was one of the few people that really wasn't excited for this Joker movie. The trailers really didn't do anything for me. I thought it looked kind of weird, not really for me. The character of the Joker has kind of become somewhat like Spider-Man in that he's had about 3 or 4 different adaptations in the last 10 years or so. So it's kind of like, can y'all just get somebody and go with it, man? Come on. But I'll be honest, I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. I really was. It was it hit all of the emotions. It hit sad. Some moments of redemption. It was really just kind of like a morbid, like just dark film, but it also was pretty intelligent and a lot of things it did. It made you think a lot, and yeah, as the media has been talking about, there's been a bunch of controversy about this film and how it kind of promotes violence and this, that, and the other. And I can see in some ways, but really all around, it's just a good movie. Look, the controversy alone is not that it's promoting violence per se. It is really more so onto the fact that you, as a viewer, sympathize many times with Arthur Fleck in this movie. In some ways, you can understand his reasoning. I'm not saying that a lot of the things that he does in this movie that you would do, but you feel bad for the guy, really. You just feel really bad for him. He's working hard to try the best he can, and just nothing ever seems to work out for the guy. And some of the times that you feel like you're sympathizing with him and feel bad for him, you kind of just feel dirty. You're like, golly, why do I agree with what he's doing right now? It kind of makes you learn a lot about yourself as far as what you would do in the situations and how you would think in that situation. So it's pretty wild. I'd say that's less of a modern day comic book movie and more like a Academy Award cinematic experience. It's a lot darker and sadder and more serious than that of Avengers or even Justice League or Batman v Superman. So that's how you know it's dark. Let's get into the movie. All right, the movie opens up with the scene from the trailer with him in the dressing room, putting on his clown mask or clown makeup and making himself smile like that. It really, because right now he works as a clown for hire for their company or whatever it's called, and so he just goes around and just dresses up as a clown for different stuff. Whoever wants to hire him out. But in this particular moment, beginning of the movie, he is working for a store, is going out of business, so he's standing in the front, just dancing around the sign and all that stuff, and then he's just trying to make a living. You kind of like feel bad for him after what happens after that, because a few minutes later, some kids steal his sign and they take off running with it, and he's responsible for that sign because it's not his, it's the company that he's working for. So he starts chasing them and give my sign back, come on, stop, please give me my sign back. And he finally catches up with him in an alley, and they kind of ambushed him. One guy was hiding behind a fence and just smacked him in the face with a sign and breaks it in half, and then just proceeds to beat the crap out of him and jump him and kick him. And it's really, you just feel sad for him because they're just cussing him out, talking down to him, and then they run off, and that's pretty much that. I mean, it's only like 5 minutes in the movie, and you're already starting to feel bad for this guy. Like, damn, man, he's just literally like a hardworking guy trying to make a living, and people, the world just keeps, bringing crap down on him, and he can't seem to get anything right. And in this film, it's kind of explained that the laugh that Arthur Fleck has is kind of like a neurological disorder. He just laughs at random times, even if his emotions are not towards laughing matters. Like something serious, and his body just start laughing, and he can't control it. He'll get to the point where he starts laughing, he'll start choking up and coughing. And honestly, I really enjoyed the laugh, and I thought it was a good job by Joaquin Phoenix in this, the way he portrayed the Joker's laugh. And it's up there with the best of them, I'll tell you. And the next scene opens up. He's in like a counseling or like a psychiatrist's office talking to the lady, and she's asking him how he's doing and all this, and then she asked to see his thought journal, and he was like hesitant to give it to her because he's been writing his jokes in it because he says that he's trying to pursue a career in stand-up comedy. And he finally gives her the journal after a couple minutes of kind of just hiding it and putting it in the book bag. And he gives it to her, and she starts reading through it, and she sees highlights a joke in there that it says, in quotes, "I hope my death makes more sense, like money sense, than my life did." And she was just like, "What is it?" So it kind of gives you a foreshadowing that, he's going to intend to kill himself throughout this movie at some point. And that it kind of makes you think that this is going to be just like a one-off Joker movie and not really tie in with any other franchises or have sequels or anything. It's just going to be a one-off and done. So it kind of makes you think about that real hard. And while he was there at the psychiatrist's office, he kind of asked her, like, "Hey, can you please increase my meds?" And she was like, "Well, Arthur, you're already on 5 different medications." He was like, "I know, I just don't want to feel bad anymore." And it kind of makes your heart hurt for him because the ultimate end game for this character, he's going to become the Joker, and you're like, man, so many things could have went differently. You're kind of rooting for him to make different choices, but obviously the movie's named Joker, so you know where it's going. And you just kind of see him start to spiral and feel bad and depression. And eventually, the state shuts down the funding for that psychiatric help. So she kind of tells him that this is going to probably be their last meeting, and he's like, "Well, what am I going to do about getting my medicine?" And she's like, "Arthur, they don't care about you. They don't even care about me. They're just out for themselves." And then it kind of cuts to his house, and he's living with his mom still in like a rundown, beat up, dirty, nasty apartment. And his mom's not really healthy, so he's having to take care of her, like bathe her and cook and help her get into bed and everything like that. So he's pretty much her caretaker because they can't really afford anybody else. And she's also kind of a manipulative type mom. She can just kind of get him to do whatever she wants, and he's just going to believe it because he's just a good little boy, according to her. He was sent here to bring everybody happiness and joy. And another side plot going on throughout the story of this movie is his mother writing letters to Thomas Wayne, which is Bruce Wayne's father, and that's her past employer. And she always writes him letters to kind of see if she can get any money and get help financially because they're not very stable. She's not working, and he's just doing little clown gigs. He's not making too much money. They're already living in a beat-up, rundown apartment. And his old saying was, we here at Wayne Industries or whatever it may be back then, treat our employees like family. So I guess she took him very literally, and wanted to get some money and financial stability. And another moment, kind of towards the beginning of the movie that makes you feel bad for him is he's on a train riding somewhere, and there's like a little boy on the train sitting in front of him, and he keeps staring at him. So Arthur starts making funny faces and making the kid laugh and smile and stuff, and he's having a good time. And then all of a sudden, his mom turns around and was like, "Quit bothering my child! Quit bothering my son!" He was like, "I wasn't bothering him." And she was like, it's like he starts freaking out on him or whatever, and then he ends up he feels bad because he's getting yelled at for something he really didn't even do anything wrong, and he starts like just laughing hysterically. That's where his condition takes over, and she turns around and was like, "What, is something funny?" And he was like, like just laughing and shaking his head no, and hands her his medical card saying that he's got a disorder or whatever, and she just kind of grabs her son, puts him in his lap, and says, "Come over, sit with me." And you just kind of feel bad for the guy, man. He just can't win. Then later on at work, when he gets back to work the next day after getting jumped by those kids, one of his coworkers come up to him. I think his name's Randy, but he comes up to him, and he's like, "Hey, I heard what happened to you. You need to protect yourself out there. It's a cold and nasty world." And he hands him a paper bag with a 38 special in there. And he's like, "Here, just take it. You can pay me back some other time." So Arthur got home. He was playing with the gun and stuff. And then I guess the next day at work, he went to a children's hospital to deal with some like young kid cancer patients. And he was doing like singing little songs like Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes and Hokey Pokey and all that other kind of crap, and dancing around in his clown outfit and making them laugh. And they were all having a good time. And then all of a sudden, he makes one hard step to the left or right, and that gun falls right out onto the floor. And he quickly picks it up and puts it back in his pants. But it was too late. Everybody already seen it. And so it cuts to him at a phone booth, and he gets fired because they said, "Why do you have a gun anyway? Why do you have a gun? You're in a children's hospital." And he was like, "It's part of my prop. It's a prop for my skit or whatever." And they didn't believe him, and then they said, "Yeah, Randy told me yesterday that you tried to buy a 38 special off of him at work," and and that's obviously showing that guy was just kind of setting him up to get fired because he didn't like him, and he's just kind of like a big bully in a way. And just after learning that he just had been fired, he is all upset, and he just gets on the subway back home. And down like on the other end of the subway, there's 3 Wayne employees, younger guys in suits and stuff, and there's a woman on there, and they keep trying to harass her and mess with her, and she finally just gets up and leaves. But all of a sudden, untimely as it may have been, Arthur starts laughing hysterically, and he can't stop or anything. They keep saying, "What's wrong? What you laughing at? What's so funny, clown boy?" And he keeps saying nothing, and they end up picking him up off the seat and start beating him up and punching him in the face and knocked him down, picked him back up, kicking at him. And all of a sudden, it was going through a tunnel, so the light was kind of flashing on and off. And all you hear is a gunshot, and you see, he shoots one guy in the head, he shoots one guy in the chest, and then he shoots the other guy in the leg and proceeds to chase him out the stop onto the stairs and ends up finishing him off out there. And then once he figured out what he did, he started like sprinting as fast as he could to get away from there because he didn't want to get in trouble or get caught. Which, I mean, in reality, he probably could have just stayed there and told the cops what had happened because it was really self-defense. He was getting his butt kicked by 3 different guys, so the only thing he had to do was shoot them. But the way this Gotham City has played out, and at this particular time, they were going to side with them guys because they were all, Thomas Wayne employees, and they were all young, successful, businessmen. And a low-life, poor, lower-class guy had just killed them. So who do you think they're going to side with? They're most likely going to side with the rich guys because that's what they are. They were probably throwing him in jail either way. And the way the story went and the eventual, results of all this probably would have been a better thing to get him thrown in jail. But at the same time, at that point, nothing wrong with him at that point. He was just doing self-defense. That was it. And then, the next day he sees the news and it's talking about like the clown vigilante and how 3 successful young businessmen for Wayne Industries have been killed. And it shows an interview from Thomas Wayne. He's like, this guy hides behind a clown mask. He's nothing but a coward. And that really it hits Arthur the wrong way, knowing that the guys were the pieces of crap that were trying to beat him up. He was just defending himself, and that was it, really. And then it kind of shows you that like, all the lower class people around Gotham City, the same kind of situation as Arthur Fleck, they kind of get behind the clown vigilante and they start protesting and rioting, and not really rioting, but just protesting and making a big scene and just trying to get justice. And because they were kind of happy that those 3 guys had been killed because they know how much pieces of crap they probably were. Around that same time, Arthur has been, following this girl around and has seen her in the elevator. It was a girl that lived a couple doors down the apartment complex, and he'd been kind of just stalking her in a way. And then she confronted him, and he said he has, and that he was too scared to come talk to her, and this, that, and the other. And I guess she worked at the bank or something like that. And she was like, next time you come, you need to rob that place. And he was like taking her literally like, yeah, I have my gun, but I didn't want to do it. And he kind of tells her that, he does stand-up comedy, which he has yet to do. So I don't know why he got around telling everybody that. I guess it's kind of like a dream of his. But he told her that he's doing stand-up comedy and that she should come watch a show sometime. And she said, yeah, sure, just let me know when. And he said, okay, I will. And that was kind of that for a little bit, and Arthur, it shows Arthur going to a comedy club and sitting in the audience and watching the comic or the comedian up there just doing his thing and working the crowd. And he's taking notes, and the funny thing about that is he's so like out of sync with the audience and the crowd that the guy will tell a joke, the audience will laugh like normal people, and they'll be like, okay, so this is the audience, and then about 2 seconds after the audience quits laughing, this is Arthur. Like just laughing way off beat, way off sync, just making a scene, like everybody drawing attention to him. And he writes all the stuff, notes about working the crowd and what to say and some just pointers really. Then a few days later, he had his first comedy show at the same club, and he walks out there. And I guess he's really nervous, and he sees that girl that lived down the hall from him that he's been trying to date in the audience, because I guess he told her about it off screen or something. And he just gets up there and he's like, my mom said, ah, and just starts laughing like nonstop. He won't quit laughing. He just keeps laughing. He starts choking up there, and then he finally gets, a couple more words out, thinking he's good, and then he starts laughing again. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. And it's almost to the point like it wasn't funny, but it was. I was laughing because I was like, this guy, man, he can't catch a freaking break, dude. Laughing hysterically, randomly times. Like, could you imagine how aggravating that would be? It would be nuts. It just kind of shows him, talking, and you hear the crowd laughing, but you really can't hear what he's saying or see the entirety of the show. It kind of cuts away, and then it really just cuts back to his mom when he's back home, and she's asking him to write or mail out another letter that she wrote, and it's really important. And I think she goes to get in the bath or goes to the bedroom or whatever she may be doing, and Arthur finally decides to open it up this time and see what it says. And he read the letter. And this is really where the first plot twist of the movie comes into play. I mean, the letter is written to Thomas Wayne, obviously, and it says, like, hey, can you come help out with your son financially? We need your help. Kind of making you assume that, Arthur is Thomas Wayne's illegitimate son, making him the brother of Batman, eventually Batman, And so he reads that and gets like really angry and upset, and he starts, confronting his mother, and she's crying and yelling on the other side of the door, and she won't unlock the door until he calms down. And he finally calms down enough for her to open the door, and she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell anybody. I had to sign some papers. And after finding out that information, he heads over to the Wayne household, just to kind of figure out what's going on, confront his possible dad. And while he's walking over there by the gate and the fence, he sees young Bruce Wayne playing on the playground. And Bruce sees him, so he kind of walks over to the gate, and there Arthur starts doing magic tricks and trying to just make little Bruce laugh and try to get him comfortable with him so he can open the gate and help him out here, because I mean at that point he thinks that's his little brother or his little half brother. So I can understand what he's doing. He wasn't like he was being weird or creepy. He was literally just trying to have fun and be nice to his in his mind, his little brother. Yeah, so he was just, doing jokes and skits and stuff, and he was amusing, young future little Batman. And then a bodyguard comes out and starts, telling him, hey, get off the property, get out of here, leave him alone. And he was like, I wasn't even doing that. I was just, just playing with him. And he was like, you don't need to be playing anywhere around here. You need to go. He was like, no, you don't understand. I'm Thomas Wayne's son. Penny Fleck is my mother. Tell him that I came by, or something like that. And he was just like, you're not his son, blah, blah, blah. And Arthur kind of shows his first psychotic moment. He grabs him through the gate, pulls him up to the gate, and was like, I don't even remember what he said, but he was saying some stuff to him like, hey, you better tell him, don't call me my mom a liar, don't call me a liar, this, that, and the fifth. And then he kind of just gets scared after he aggressively grabs that man, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, did I really just grab that guy? And then he just sprints off out of the thing, and Bruce Wayne's just kind of just watching him. And the next day, Arthur hears about a protest on the news. A bunch of people dressed up with clown masks are going to be at a theater to protest Mr. Wayne because he's trying to run for mayor. I guess they're out there watching a Charlie Chaplin silent film up there at the theater. And while the rioting and protest is going on, Arthur sneaks past the fence by the guards and sneaks into the theater and dresses up like an usher. And then he sees Mr. Wayne, and Mr. Wayne gets up and walks out. So he just kind of quickly turns around and walks out, and he follows him to the bathroom and confronts him in there and was like, hey, I'm your son. And Mr. Wayne's like, oh, you must be the guy that came to our house yesterday. He's like, don't you ever step foot around my house ever again, and don't even lay an eye on my son. And he was like, you're my dad. And he's like, I'm not your dad. It's impossible, because this is the second plot twist. Because you're adopted. And he was like, no, why you gotta lie? I ain't like I'm looking here looking for money or anything else. I just want to know if it's the truth. I want to talk to you. Why can't you just embrace me and give me a hug like a normal person, Dad? saying like, why can't these people be just civil and tell the truth for once? And then while this is going on, I guess some detectives have went to try to find Arthur at their apartment and found his mom. And I guess whatever they said to him gave her a stroke. So as soon as Arthur got back from the protest and talking to his dad, he sees his mom being on a stretcher, getting stretchered out to the ambulance. So he gets an ambulance and rides her to the hospital. And while he was there, apparently she had a stroke. So while he was there, he got confronted by the detectives that were looking for him earlier. And he just kind of didn't even have anything to say to them, like, just leave me alone. I'm in a hospital with my mom. And he went back inside, and it was funny on the way in. He was trying to go in and look all cool. He walked into the glass door because it was exit only, so the motion sensor's only on the inside. So he ran right into the glass door and was like, and they were like, it's exit only, you gotta go around. He just ignored them, and then finally somebody came, and he just walked in when they opened the door. So it was a pretty funny moment. One of the few funny moments in the whole movie, because really, like I said earlier, the majority of the movie is just dark and depressing kind of, but that was a pretty funny moment. The next day, he kind of goes to the psychiatric ward where tries to get the records for his mom back when she was in there. And the guy at the desk didn't want to give it to him because he said, you need to get signature and get authorized to have this because it's too much information for me to just give away. I could lose my job. And so Arthur ends up, just grabbing it through the little hole and pulling it out and then just running away, stealing it. And he gets to the bottom of the staircase and starts opening and reading through it. And he finds out that Thomas Wayne was telling the truth, that his mother did adopt him. And when she adopted him, he got taken away from him or something because she would just sit back and watch and let her then boyfriend abuse Arthur, just beat him down. They said he found him tied to a radiator one time, so it's pretty nuts. I'm like, golly, man, this guy's had a rough his whole entire life. So, after learning that information about his mom and her past and his past, he's a little heartbroken and furious at the same time, so he just heads back to the hospital and tries to confirm his mom about it. And she can't really talk back because she had a stroke, so she can listen and she's conscious, but she can't talk. So she understands everything he's saying. He's just kind of talking to her like, you always said that I'm here just to bring happiness and put a smile on my face and bring joy around people. Let me tell you something. I ain't never been happy a effing day in my life. And then after he says all that, he takes a pillow and just smothers his mom right then and there. And this is kind of the point in the film where you stop feeling sorry for him, really, and start kind of get to the point where you can see him spiraling out of control. It's finally starting to take effect. And you can see the Joker coming through. And many can say that Arthur Fleck died with his mom that day. And ever since then, it's just been nothing but the Joker. And after that, he heads back to the apartment. And, he's sad and depressed because nothing's going right with him. And everybody seems to try to make an ass out of him. So he gets back and he walks into his girlfriend's apartment door, and just opens it up, doesn't even knock or anything, just walks in and sits on the couch. And then his girlfriend walks out of her daughter's room, and here's the next plot twist. She opens the door, sees them, and starts screaming, and is like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here? Who are you? You're Arthur, right? Is your mom home down the hall?" And then kind of everything just kind of seems to flood in and flash back to him, and when he realizes that he's been literally just making this up in his mind this entire time. He's never been on a date with that woman. Every time he went on a date with her, in his mind, he was just walking around talking to air, sitting down, eating food, talking to air. People probably thought he was crazy as hell. Honestly, I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? You look for see if you got a Bluetooth in his ear first, because normally that's what people think. What are you talking to? And they have a phone in their ear. But in this case, man, he's just straight up crazy. And all the times that they were at the comedy club, he saw her. She wasn't really there. At the hospital, when she was there comforting him when his mom had a stroke, she wasn't really there. It was just him. So it's pretty nuts to think about it. That was a good plot twist, really. Some people say they saw it coming, but I really didn't see it coming. I thought, maybe this is the one good thing in his life, and I thought maybe she died or something, and it kind of changed him over, put him over the top. But no, she just never was there. Never talked to him, other than the one time in the elevator when she was like, "Kids." And after that, he just been obsessed with her and just visualizing her everywhere he goes. They went there on dates and happiness and stuff. After that, he just shows him sprinting out of her room, and you can hear the sirens in the background. So it kind of leaves it up for debate whether he killed her or not, or maybe he just ran out. But It doesn't really say, so I guess it's up to the audience to figure that out and determine. But yeah, it never really shows. But then it just kind of cuts to the next morning, and he gets a call from the Murray Show, which the Murray Show is the host is Robert De Niro's character Murray, and it's kind of just like Jimmy Fallon Show, Tonight Show, and all those late night talk shows on TV. That's kind of what that is. And they call and they say, hey, Murray would like to have you on the show. Your video's been going viral from being in the comedy club, and we'd like to have you on. Would you want to be on? He's like, yeah, sure, because the Murray Show is what him and his mom has watched forever, seemingly. And Murray was like kind of like his idol or somebody he's tried to be like when he gets older, and so of course he's going to say yes to go on this show. And then later on that day, the guy that gave him the gun, Randy, and then another coworker of his, like a little person, they both came in to check on Arthur and see how he's doing after his mom died and all that. And at this point in time, Arthur's getting ready to go on the show. So he has his face all painted white, and he hadn't put the rest of the makeup on yet, but he has his whole face painted white, and he locks a deadbolt when they come in, so you're kind of like, what the heck? And he grabs a pair of scissors, and he ends up stabbing the big guy to death for, lying about him and treating him wrong and being mean to him. And the little guy's in the corner like, oh my God, Arthur, what are you doing? Oh my God, no, what are you doing? And then Arthur just kind of sits down on the ground nonchalantly, and the other guy's freaking out, and he's like, hey, do you ever watch the Murray Show? Like, just being calm and acting like nothing even happened. And the other guy's like, what? Like, just still freaking out, and he's like, I'm going to be on there tonight, so you can watch it. And he's still freaking out, so Arthur was finally like, I'm not going to hurt you. You can go. And so the little guy just slowly walks towards the door, and once he gets to the door, he tries to leave, but he finds out that the deadbolt is locked, and being a short guy, he can't reach it. He's like, I can't reach it. And he was like, Arthur? He was like, yeah, what's up, man? Or whatever he said. And he was like, can you lock the door? He's like, oh yeah, sorry, buddy. And he gets up and he unlocks the door and he opens it, but then right before he walks out, he closes it. And at this point in time, you're like, okay, this guy's so unstable. You don't even know what's going to happen. He's going to end up killing this guy. Maybe he locked the door on purpose. That way he couldn't reach it. He knew he couldn't get out, so he was just going to, mess with his mind and eventually kill him. So you really don't never know because this guy's so unstable. Who knows, honestly? But he ends up opening the door and then closing it back, and he was like, I got one more thing to say. And he was like, the guy was scared to death. I mean, I would have been scared too. What are you going to do? And he just kisses him on the head like, and he says, you were the only person that's ever been nice to me. Thank you. And that kind of hurts your heart like, dang, man, if only more people had been nice to that guy, he would have been a whole different person, a whole different life, and a whole different outcome. But yeah, he lets him go, and then he proceeds to get ready for the show. He puts the rest of his makeup on, he dyes his hair green, and he puts on his iconic purple suit. Then it kind of just shows him, walking towards the show. He's going down a large staircase. I'm sure y'all have seen the memes and stuff of the guys on the staircase like that. Like, he's just dancing with all his clown makeup on and stuff. And it's like music in the background. It's a big, funny, like, dramatic scene. Like, he's just dancing. Like, nothing else is going on. Like, Arthur, you're such a good dancer. Oh, I know. Stuff like that. And then all you hear is, you see two like blurry figures in the background on top of the staircase, and it ends up being the two detectives from before. And Arthur sees them, and he starts just sprinting, takes off. This time he didn't even have anything to say to him. He started running, and they chased him. It's kind of like a Tom and Jerry type chase, through the city. And eventually he gets on the subway, and there's like I guess they're all going to a protest or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but there's a bunch of people with clown masks. Like, everybody on the whole train has a clown mask on. And so he gets on there, and then the detectives follow him on there, and they're trying to figure out which one's him, but, they all have clown masks on, so it's kind of hard to figure out. And so eventually one of the guys ends up shooting one of the detectives and killing him, and the other detective is getting jumped. And, the Joker just walks out of the train when it stops and looks at the guy and was like, starts laughing, and then just walks away, headed to the show or whatever, the station. And when he gets to the show, he asks Murray if he would please introduce him as the Joker. And Murray's like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, kid. And the other guy, like I guess the show director or whatever, the producer, he was like, Murray, I don't think we should let this guy go on dressed like a clown. Like all the bad things going around the town, the city right now. I think it's in poor taste for the costume. And he asked Arthur, "Are you? Why are you dressed like that?" He was like, "No, it's nothing. It's nothing about political. I'm not political at all." And he was like, "Okay, well, whatever." He's like, "I thought it'd be funny. I want to make people laugh." And then it's time for him to go on. You can hear, Murray in the background talking to the previous person on the show, like a doctor of some sort, maybe a psychiatrist or something, and talking about how crazy this guy is about to come on and how something's not right with him and he's just not funny at all and he thinks he's funny, he's delusional, and and you can kind of hear all this and it's kind of just building up and inside of Arthur, and I think because honestly, Arthur was planning on killing himself on the show on live TV, but I guess something that he heard Murray say or something changed in his thought process to make him change his mind. So he comes out there and he starts laughing and smiling, acting confident. He finally sits down, and before he sits down, he kisses the doctor on the mouth, just for a long extended period of time. Then he finally sits down. Crowd's cheering and everything. He sits down, talks to Murray. Murray's just kind of just picking on him, making joke after joke on him, and he's finally like, "Can you give us some jokes or whatever?" And Arthur's like, "Yeah, I think I got some." He opens his book up, and he finally finds one, and all he says is "knock knock," and Murray's like, "You look in a book for that?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then so he ends up saying "knock knock," and he says "who's there" or whatever, and he was like, "It's the guy who killed all three the guys on the subway," and I've been trying to hide my emotions about it and trying to think, trying to act like it was not okay, but I can't. It's not who I am. To me, it's hilarious. And they're like, "That's not really a joke. You got poor taste and judgment or whatever." And he was like, "It's funny to me." And then he has one more joke on there. He says, "Well, what do you get when you cross a guy and make fun of him on your show and think you're better than everybody and this, that, and everything else?" I don't know exactly what he said, but it's something along the lines of that. And Murray says, "What?" And then the Joker says, "You get what you deserve." Pow! Shot him right in the head on national live TV. And then he got up, pow! Shot him in the chest. And everybody's freaking out, and the audience ran away, and people on the stage ran away. They couldn't believe what happened. And he gets in the camera and was like, just kind of just making a point that it's not okay. All these guys, they just overlook us, and just kind of making a really good material for all the guys in the same social class as him, and just to kind of get behind him and let's make a movement kind of deal. And then so it cut off the cable or whatever, and then I guess the cops arrested him, and it cuts to him in the back of a cop car, and they're just driving through the streets, and there's people rioting, burning buildings, blowing up cars, fire hydrants going everywhere, water spraying everywhere, dogs barking and stuff like that, sirens going. It's just chaos pretty much. And the cop looks back at him in the rearview mirror and says, do you see what you did?" And he goes up to a little thing and said, "Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?" And then right as that moment comes, BAM! Hit the side of the car. The cop car got hit with a ambulance that was being driven by one of the Joker's followers. Maybe one of the lower class guys that was a medic or something. And he ran the ambulance right into the side of the car, killing both cops and knocking the Joker unconscious. And so they broke the back window the rest of the way open, and they dragged him out and put him on the hood of the cop car. Then he finally wakes up and stands on the hood and is just dancing around, his little weird moves. Like just weird, slow motion, weird moves. I mean, there's nothing else to say but weird. That's what the weirdest thing ever. But he stands up and he realizes, what he's done, and people finally start to notice him, and he's like the leader of all this kind of crap going on, and he just takes his blood out of his mouth and just makes a smiley face on his face of just his blood from his mouth that was bleeding, and everybody starts cheering and stuff. And then here's the last plot twist of the movie. During that whole riot scene, it shows one of the Joker's followers, people running around with a clown mask. He sees Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne and Martha Wayne going down the alley, the OG Batman origin story. And yes, you thought right. One of the guys set off from the Joker's emotions and the movement the Joker started is why the Waynes were killed, leaving Bruce Wayne right there alone in the alley. Instead of ripping off the pearls and everything. So it was pretty crazy to see it come full circle like that, tying it into the original Batman stuff, the origin story and stuff like that. So it was pretty sweet. And then it cuts to black, and the final scene of the movie opens up where it's him in a psychiatric ward with, I guess, a psychiatrist, I assume. And she was just talking to him, and all of a sudden he just busts out into laughter because he was having a thought, thinking about Bruce Wayne in the alley by himself beside his dead parents, and he started laughing. And the psychiatrist asked, what's so funny? And he said, you probably wouldn't even get it. And then it just kind of shows him running out or walking out of the hallway with bloody footprints, kind of insinuating that he killed that psychiatrist. And that it kind of gets to the end of the hallway, and he looks at the people, and he sees the doctor, the nurses and stuff. They start chasing him. He's like, just running around back and forth, just laughing hysterically, like it's not even a big deal. He's just having fun and enjoying it, and thinks everything's so funny that he just killed a woman. Now he's probably ended up going to kill enough people. He doesn't show it, but I'm assuming he did. And he was just laughing around, running around, and getting chased. And there's nothing more Joker than that. I mean, there isn't. It just doesn't get any more Jokerish than that. That is the Joker to a T. And so yeah, I mean that right there is pretty much the Joker movie 2019 in a nutshell. Yes, it was controversial, and yes, it was a good movie, and I really recommend you go and check this out. Obviously, if you're watching the spoiler review and synopsis of this movie, then you already know, and you've already seen it. But if you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're watching the movie. But even if you haven't seen the movie and you watch my entire, rant on this movie per se and my review on it, still go check the movie out in theaters because it's a lot better than what I was making it out to be. I mean, I made it out to be pretty good, but it's a lot better than what I made it out to be. I mean, not in my review. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, he did a great job in this film. Great job. And I'm one of them guys, and I always say this, it's going to be hard. Nobody can really compare to Heath Ledger's adaptation of the Joker in The Dark Knight. But man, this right here is a very, very close second as far as Jokers are concerned. They both did different things great. They're not exactly the same Joker by any means. But what Joaquin Phoenix does in this movie is nothing short of amazing. From the laugh to just the acting skills and the facial expressions. It's a great movie overall, man. I'm telling you. You need to go check this out. I mean, to me, this movie is so cool in the aspect that it just kind of delves into the Joker's origin story, kind of telling you more about how that happened and how he became the Joker, and not so much about, okay, here's the Joker, he's the bad guy. We all have seen that plenty of times, iterated in different animated movies, series, the Dark Knight trilogy or whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of played out. But this right here, man, this is a great movie. And this movie just makes you want to see the Joker interact with Batman, which I don't think, it might not happen, but you never know. Because I know Joaquin Phoenix said he didn't want to make a franchise out of this. He just wanted to kind of do a one-off. But as successful as this movie's being right now and how it's going to be, before it leaves the box office, it's going to be a big magnitude movie. I mean, it really is. It's not going to be like, Star Wars or Avengers Endgame type numbers or Avatar, but it's going to make pretty good numbers. And the only thing that's going to hurt it is it maybe being rated R because you're not going to be able to take your kids to go see this movie. But other than that, man, it's a good movie overall. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. But the one thing that I got out of this, and a lot of people should take out of this, you people out here that's bullying people or being mean to someone just because they're different or weird, you might want to rethink that, man. If you watch this movie, that's exactly what happened to old Arthur Fleck. He was just kind of, bullied until he couldn't take it anymore, and he just snapped. And that's what you guys don't need. You don't need, if anything, you need to be positive to people that need help. You don't need to be negative, because one day you're going to be responsible for creating a Joker. I mean, you really are. So get that together. I'd say this film is definitely in my top 3 of DC films of all time. I gave it a solid 9 out of 10. So I think you need to go check this out. That was my take on this movie, nutshell. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, sorry. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and hit the subscribe button for more content. I appreciate it. Y'all have a safe week and God bless. Nerdy Athlete out.